Boston Bruins lose their first game of the 2024-2025 NHL regular season 6-4 at the hands of the Florida Panthers. In the way the Bruins played, they didn't play great. The score shows it being a lot tighter than it actually was. It was 6-2 heading into the final 5 minutes. The Panthers took the foot off the gas, and the Bruins managed to get two past Bobrovsky, two really weak shots past Bobrovsky. The first goal was Sam Bennett, 6.5 minutes in, 1-0 Florida. It was a nice tip-in shot. Not much you can do about that one. You want to have that one back, but you want to have them all back. Kind of have to pull your pants up and move on with that. Second one was Eetu Luostarinen. Poke check shot. It says poke check. It was a snapshot right in. Came across the net and past two Bruins players, and wide open cage. Clean shot right in. Next goal was from Boston. Pavel Zacha off a shorthanded pass from Elias Lindholm. How did we get shorthanded? Nikita Zadorov got 2 minutes for cross-checking Matthew Tkachuk. That's what you need to expect from Tkachuk. He drew, I think, four penalties this game, and that's just par for the course with him. He's going to draw penalties. He's not going to take them, and he's going to get in your head, just like he did last year in the playoffs. That's exactly what he did this year. Next goal came 18:34 into the first period. Sam Reinhart shorthanded from Alexander Barkov once again. Just a bad goal to allow after you get momentum back. Plus, you have the power play. You really want to get one there. That was on AJ Greer for hooking David Pastrnak. Was that shorthanded? That's one where Pastrnak was able to get the call that he needed. The refs weren't great in this game for the amount of penalties called. They really could have done a better job, but that's about it. Can't do much about it, just have to move on. Next goal in the first period, scored by Sam Bennett exactly a minute later, and it's at this point where you just want to see Allmark get pulled. Where you want to see Korpisalo get pulled. 4 goals on 17 shots. That's just not good. I know Swayman's still hasn't had a ton of time to practice with the team, but you're down 4-1. You need something to have the guys be able to pull their heads out of their asses, hopefully. Can't do much about that. Just have to let the coaches make the coaching decisions and move on with it. There was also a fight about 5 minutes into the first period, 6 minutes into the first period. AJ Greer and Mark Kastelik. I didn't mind Mark Kastelik in this game. I thought he played exactly what he was supposed to do. He did a great fourth line role. He played a great fourth line role this whole game. 5 minutes into the game, you want to get your team up into it because they were looking really lackadaisical throughout the entirety of the first period, minus apparently Pavel Zacha and Elias Lindholm, who came together for the shorthanded goal. But that was it. Into the second period, we think we get a break. We don't. 9 minutes in, Jonas Gadovich scores from Jasper Boquist to make it 5-1 Florida. Again, just a brutal goal. I'm pretty sure Korpisalo got beat clean here. Just one that can't go in, especially in game one, where you walk into Florida, the team that destroyed you in the playoffs, quite frankly. I know you won 2 games. They destroyed you in the playoffs. And that's just one that can't go in. Next goal, giving the Bruins some more hope. Charlie McAvoy from Johnny Beecher and Hampus Lindholm. About 3 minutes later. This was just an amazing goal from Charlie McAvoy. Exactly what you want to see out of him. Putting up points in games that matter, especially like this one. And that was it for the second period. So into the third we go. Evan Rodriguez scores. That's the dagger. Makes it 6-2. 6.5 minutes in. And at that same time, Korpisalo got ran over by Sam Bennett. I saw the broadcast saying that it wasn't a fair penalty. I tend to believe it was. I know Bennett got pushed into Korpisalo, but at the same time, he also had plenty of room to stop before he ran him over. And just after that, a scrum ensued where Frederick and Tkachuk both went off for 2 minutes for roughing. Definitely something that you like to see out of Frederick, going after Matthew Tkachuk, trying to get in his head as best he can. Obviously, it's Tkachuk. He's going to get right back into your head. And just can't do anything about that. You get collateral minors. Sure, that's the word we'll use. Collateral minors, and you got a 2-minute power play. You end up burning it, just like you did for every other one except the last one. Made it a good one, I suppose. Trent Frederick scores 10 minutes later to make it 6-3 in favor of Florida still. It was at this point, Florida had taken their foot off the gas. They were just trying to get out of there with the 2 points. They didn't really care. I don't think anyone really cared. Like, you knew the game was over already. You like to have a bit of hope, but the game was done. And then David Pastrnak, 2 minutes after that, manages to get one on the power play from a tripping penalty drawn by Mark Kastelik. Just that goal shouldn't have gone in. He put it off of a player's skate that was standing in front, and it went right through the 5-hole of Bobrovsky. One you would like to see him have, but I don't think he was trying that hard. Obviously, it's the NHL, you're going to try, but there's a certain point where you know the game's over. It's out of reach. It's game one. You want to save yourself the energy for the rest of the season. The Bruins were outshot 35-28. Quite frankly, if this was still the preseason, this was the best preseason game they had. Bad news is it's not. It counts towards the standings. So just kind of gotta lose the 2 points, pull your socks up, and move on. Next game is going to be on Thursday in Boston, hosting Montreal. And then a couple notes from the game. I really like the Bruins' new additions in Zadorov and Lindholm. Elias Lindholm, that is. I know Zadorov took a couple penalties, but his play outside of the penalties was actually quite... It was up to par for what the Bruins wanted out of the new additions, considering what they're paying them. And Elias Lindholm obviously had the one assist earlier on in the game. Didn't do much of anything else besides that. But that's also what you want. You want a quiet night to start. You don't want to come out... You want to come out guns blazing. But in a game where you effectively lost 6-2, that's about the best start that you can hope for. Hopefully goaltending can pick it up. I trust that Korpisalo will be able to get it back. He has been really good in previous situations where he has had a good D-core. And I believe Boston currently has the best D-core in the league. I know this tonight might not show it, but everyone has their off nights. That's about it for the game. Max Jones took a really bad penalty. It's listed as unsportsmanlike conduct. It's abuse of an official, but because it wasn't intentional, it got nailed for unsportsmanlike conduct instead. He was scrapping with Evan Rodriguez and tried to slash his stick as the official was coming up to hold Rodriguez back and smashed his stick right off the official's arm. You're going to get called for that every day of the week, especially when you had two other officials standing right behind you. I was not thrilled with the way Max Jones played today. He had, I think, 2 or 3 penalties throughout the game. Just not what you want to see from someone who's trying to become a full-time player in the NHL. But at the same time, if that's how he ends up making this team full-time, that's how he ends up making the team full-time. Good on you if you do. That's exactly how Matt Rempe did it last season. He had a bit of a different fashion, but that is the way he made his team. Star of the game, you got to give it to one of the goal scorers. I'm going to say Pavel Zacha. He was the most visual of the goal scorers. No, I'm going to give it to Charlie McAvoy. He was the most apparent of the goal scorers. David Pastrnak had a very, very quiet night, except for those final few minutes where, like I said, you're not trying to do anything. You're just trying to get out of there with the win and the loss and move on to the next game. That's about it. Thank you all so much for watching. Click like if you want, click subscribe if you want, and I'll see you on Thursday night against Montreal. A couple things to note during editing here. Trent Frederick had Matthew Tkachuk try and goad him into a fight. Frederick took the bait. Tkachuk said no and backed out of it. Ended up drawing a 2-minute penalty for unsportsmanlike. That's just what you hate to see. I mean, that's Tkachuk being Tkachuk. He's going to do that to you every day of the week. It's disappointing that Frederick fell for it, but you also think it's game 1. He might actually do it. And Kurt Verhaeghe has been signed to a contract extension by the Florida Panthers for $7 million a season. That's an incredible deal for the forward. And it looks like this core is going to be coming back for the following season, unfortunately, as the Bruins